to serve you. We're gonna colonize the first world until you can't ignore us just by going click. Until our children stop being born as the enemy. Until the first world stops seeing the third world as a different place.
Who wants to be right as the rain is better when something is wrong? You get excitement in your bones and everything you do's
I'm here at the Multicultural Center where the culminating event of the API Issues Conference will be held. Today's event features performances by nationally acclaimed spoken word poets, Bo Sia, Bao Phi, and Kelly Tai. In this episode, CalTV gives you an inside look at the world of spoken word poetry and what it means to be an Asian American spoken word poet. Hey CalTV, this is Lisa Lee and I'm here with spoken word poet Kelly Tai. So one question I want to ask you is, as a spoken word poet, what's the importance, do you think, of practicing spoken poetry over just written poetry?
I actually grew up going to poetry slams as a teenager, so for me, I grew up basically writing and performing poetry, and it was very natural for me to do both. And I think that there's something really electric and magical about that moment of live performance where you're actually looking in someone's eyes. You can feel somebody's energy. You can feel even the heat of the bodies in the room, you know? And it creates a whole other sensation. The experience of being Asian American is a really unique one in that, you know, here tonight, I mean, we have like this Pan-Asian coalition of people that, you know, back in Asia, we would not all be hanging out together. We would not know all this stuff. You know, my parents don't know about what's happening in the Philippines or Vietnam and all this kind of stuff, not in this intimate way that we know each other here in the United States, because we've claimed this identity of what we are means something, and it means something together.
And, I've read that your motto is Move the Earth. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
It's really about the fact that with these small words, we can touch and move and change what's happening in people's hearts all over the world.
It is my lifelong journey to attempt this, and I do it alone. Because those who have consciously created categories of the external to represent the I cannot carry me. Self cannot be attained by those who are slaves to their own environment, and I seek to transcend that which would attach me to any world other than my own. But I'm weak.
We're sitting here with spoken word poet Bao Phi. So, you often refer to the acronym NOC, Nerds of Color. Can you tell us a little bit about what that is?
Sure. You know, back in Minneapolis, there were some friends of mine who were all people of color who were into sci-fi and fantasy, but we felt like we were also critical of it in terms of gender, in terms of queer stuff, certainly in terms of race stuff, you know. And we realized that this kind of set us apart, and we're like, what's a name? And I was like, how about NOC, Nerd of Color? And it just kind of stuck.
Other than being a spoken word poet, are there any other community organizations that you're involved in currently?
Well, I'm a part of the Justice for Fong Lee Committee, which is a committee of Minnesota activists who are seeking community empowerment and education about Fong Lee, who is a Hmong teenager who was shot and killed by a Minneapolis police officer. And so I'm a part of that. I'm also part of the organizing body for the National Asian American Spoken Word Poetry Summit, which will be happening in the Twin Cities in 2011. And I'm also, as a community worker, I try to be involved as many different things and support as many different causes. As we all know, the world, there's a lot of work to be done, and so I try to do my part. But you know, I also work full time, and I also have a family. I have a baby daughter, so right now it's all about juggling all of that. You know.
Okay, thank you so much for your time. I really enjoyed your performance
thank you.
today.
Yeah,
Okay,
thank you.
thanks for watching CalTV, and be sure to check out Bao Phi's work on